Welcome to the Speech Coach channel, where we discuss all things related to stuttering, stammering, blocking, whatever definition you want to call it. In this video, I want to discuss something called affirmations. It's also known as mantras, and it's also even known as incantations. So basically, the essence of the definition of all of those for the purposes of this video is the definition of we're going to use the word incantation. So the definition of incantation is to kind of repeat something that you want to manifest in your life, that you want to get into your neurology. So we're going to discuss incantations and how those can help in limiting beliefs related to stuttering. So if you've watched my other video on visualization, you'll notice that I'm talking about limiting beliefs a lot. So why so much focus on limiting beliefs as it relates to stuttering? Well, one of the big sources of stuttering is our belief systems. And if we can change those belief systems, then we increase our fluency. We start to change our beliefs related to stuttering. So that's why, so basically to sum that up, if you don't have a particular belief, like let's say, for example, I'm a stutterer, or I cannot speak good in that situation, or I'm not a good public speaker, whatever the case may be, whatever your belief systems are related to speaking, if you change those beliefs, then you start to speak better, you have more fluency. So that's why there's so much focus on belief systems. But in any case, in this video, I want to talk about how incantations can help with establishing new empowering belief systems that serve us. So the first thing so how do we do incantations? How do we do them? So basically, you're going to come up with a list of things that you want to get into your neurology, that you want to reprogram into your brain. And basically they're going to be statements, and you're gonna repeat those, and you're gonna repeat those ideally on a daily basis. And I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to make your incantations very effective when you do them on a daily basis. So the first thing is you want to make the incantations concise. We don't want to get too verbose. We don't want to have a monologue. We just want to have a quick, to the point statement that really gets across the essence of what you want to get into your neurology. So for example, I'm a great speaker. I'm a dynamic and charismatic speaker in all situations. One of my favorites is every time I go to speak, or every single time I go to speak, the words are just there. Look at that. Even saying it made me smile because I do it so many times and I have so much emotion tied behind that. But anyway, we'll get to emotion in one of the steps. But the key here is just make the statements concise and to the point, and something that your neurology, words, really focus on words that mean something to you when you're saying your incantations. So for me, when I say that statement, every single time I go to speak, the purpose of that is I'm capturing every single context that could come up, every single speaking situation. Every single time I go to speak, the words are just there, meaning that I don't have any blocks. Like every single time I'm ready to speak, the words just flow. So, I pound that into my neurology every single day. The point there is make your statements concise and really make the words mean something. Like, really capture onto words that are really going to be impactful and mean something to you. The second thing is, tip number 2 is focus on only what you want and not what you do not want. So for example, my mantra, my affirmation, my incantation it's going to be, instead of saying, for example, I will not stutter in any situations, right? You don't want to say that because your focus is on stuttering. You don't want to focus on stuttering. You want to focus on what you want and not what you don't want. So, you could just say something, along the lines of, I'm a great speaker in all contexts and situations. Only focus on what you do want and not what you don't want. Keep in mind there this phrase that really rings true for me, where focus goes, energy flows. So what you're focusing on, is what you're going to get in life. So again, focus on what you want and not what you do not want. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is when you're doing your incantations, you really want to get into a peak state. And what I mean by that is you want to really get your physiology going. So physiology meaning your body, right? What I like to do when I'm doing my incantations is I'll listen to some really fast beat music, okay? Get some fast beat music going, something that really hypes you up, get moving, get jumping around a bit, right? And then start to fire off your incantations. I'm a great speaker, I'm a great storyteller, like really, really get into it. Motion, body motion brings emotion. And we'll talk about emotion in step 4. But a part of this is, you really want to delve up as much emotion as you can, and getting into a peak state, getting your physiology going will help you to build emotion, and will really, emphasize what it is you're saying and really capture the attention of your subconscious brain. So, listen to some music that really gets you hyped, move your body. And when you say your incantations, use your whole body, okay? So really, like, I'm a great speaker. I'm a dynamic and charismatic speaker in every situation. Like, really emphasize it. You don't have to yell, but, you could even actually do it. Like, if you're in a situation where you can't, be loud, you can actually even do it inaudibly. But as long as you're just, I'm a great speaker. As long as you're emphasizing it, it is good. It is good sensory to hear that. But as long as you're at least saying it, you don't have to yell. But the main thing is just get your physiology going and really get some emphasis behind what you're saying. And again, that'll help to build some emotion. So 4 is kind of a good segue into emotion. Everything that you want to change related to your brain, if you're going to change something, you're going to have to invoke emotion into that. So, like I mentioned in the visualization video, one of the best ways of invoking emotion is to think about how you would feel if that thing were true now. So as people who stutter, if we can envision ourselves, like some of us, we've struggled with stuttering our entire lives, right? So if you envision yourself all of a sudden, now you're this fluent speaker, and all these limiting things that may have held you back, maybe they held you back or maybe they didn't. But, if you had a desire to speak very fluently, right? And all of a sudden now you're speaking very fluently, and you feel confident, you feel assertive, there's going to be a lot of good emotion behind that. So, if you can feel the feelings that you would feel if it were true now, that will really invoke emotion. So again, emotion is the superhighway to the brain. It's the language of emotion is the superhighway to changing the brain. And emotion is the language of the brain. So when you invoke emotion, you change the brain. So think about this regarding emotion, right? Most of the belief systems that we have, they were developed early on in childhood development. The 2 to 5, right? The 2 to 5 age range. So when something in early childhood development was especially traumatic, your brain because there's a lot of emotion in traumatic events, your brain locks onto that. Your brain stores that. It stores it. It reinforces it when it's especially traumatic and especially emotional. So think about, someone that's 35 years old. They had a traumatic event when they're 5 years old, and they still remember that traumatic event 30 years later. Why is that? Because there was a lot of emotion, there was a lot of trauma. So your brain like just locked into that, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna remember this, and every single time a context or situation like this comes up in the future, I'm gonna spit this out because I've learned this and I'm gonna apply it. So we'll get into this in future videos, but it's a defense mechanism of the brain. Your limbic brain. But in any case, that's why emotion is so powerful. So the same way that you've established these beliefs based upon emotion, right? You can also utilize emotion to change a belief that is self-serving to you. So that's why emotion is so important. So that's step 4. So just real quick, I'll just summarize. So basically, incantations or mantra or affirmation, whatever you want to call it. Basically, if you just sit here and say that I'm a great speaker, I'm a great speaker, I'm a great speaker, it's never going to happen for you, right? You got to evoke emotion. You got to have some passion there. You got to get your physiology going. So those are the things that really imprints those beliefs into your neurology. But the 4 tips are concise statements. You want to focus on what you want and not what you do not want. You want to get in a peak state, so get your physiology going. And then you want to make sure that you're bringing emotion into your incantations. And again, the best way to bring emotion into your incantations is to feel the feelings you would feel if it were true now. So if I'm telling myself, if I'm doing an incantation, I'm a dynamic and charismatic speaker in every single situation, and I'm saying that, simultaneously, I'm actually, feeling how I would feel if that were true now. Like if I were truly a dynamic and charismatic speaker in every single situation, how would that make you feel? And feel the feelings that you would feel if that were true now. So those are the 4 tips, incantations. What I recommend, and I do this on a daily routine. I do incantations every single day. I'd recommend you, listen to some fast-paced music and any kind of music that gets you hyped. And just do, maybe 10 minutes of this, right? It doesn't have to be a long time, but, consistency is always going to be key. You're not going to do this, 5 days in a row, and then all of a sudden it's going to be imprinted into your neurology. It's just not going to happen. It takes repetition. It takes time over and over and over again. So I'd recommend that you just make this a part of your morning routine and just, take 10 minutes and do it every single morning and start to see if you get any results from it. Like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I appreciate you.